Welcome to Halachot Niddah. This will be part 5 of the class. In the Sefer Taharat Abayit by Rav David Yosef Shlita, he's going to speak about Matai Asura. When does the wife become forbidden to the husband? Mishum Niddah, because she is a Niddah. Because she is a woman that saw blood. Now, this line over here, Matai Asura Mishum Niddah, in short is going to be called Isur Niddah. Whenever we're going to see this, we're going to have to be able to apply this. I'll read it for you one time and you guys will get the hang of it. Rav David Yosef Shlita says like this. There is no difference le'inyun isur niddah in regards to a woman becoming forbidden to her husband because she became a niddah. Those two words, isur niddah, in English is going to translate into when does a woman become forbidden to her husband because of a niddah. That is the difference, Rabotai. When you learn the Hebrew, it's only 2 words. In English, it could be 10 words. So that's why it's very important to also know the Hebrew. So Rav David Yosef opens up and he says, there is no difference when it comes to the prohibition of a woman being a niddah, which is going to forbid her and her husband, ben whether whether she saw blood because the time of her period came, or whether or whether she saw blood because of another circumstance. For example, she picked up something heavy, she jumped, she might have eaten something, she could have taken certain type of medicine. It might not be in her period when she's anticipating to see her period. Nevertheless, if she sees it outside of her anticipation period, still we're going to tell you that she is tameh. Any woman that sees blood, we're going to tell you she becomes tameh, she becomes impure, and the husband is no longer allowed to have any form of contact with her. Now, Rabbot, I want to make something clear. Let me just go back over here. We defined over here, what is Zman Vest? I want to clarify this. A lot of people have this very great misconception. When I say the time of her period, it doesn't mean that she's going to get a period. That is the time frame of her period where she's anticipating to get a period. But it doesn't mean she got her period yet. Okay, let's read it in English. What is Zman Vesta? Zman Vesta, the time of her period, which means the time she expects her menstrual flow based on her cycle. When she expects it to come, doesn't mean it's gonna come. It actually might come then and there, but if it doesn't come then and there, doesn't mean automatically she's impure. No, she first has to see the blood in order to become impure. Now, when we'll say see, it's not even, doesn't necessarily mean, when I say see, it doesn't have to be on her body or on her underwears or things like that. What I say sees, as we're going to see, Rav David Yosef is going to explain that if she feels that it became detached from her and from her womb, we're going to explain all this now. Automatically she becomes tameh, she becomes impure, even though the blood did not yet come out of her system. We're going to see this, Rabotai. It's just, again, we're doing this a live recording. It's a little bit hard, so we're going to try to break it down as much as I can. These halachot are very, very critical. Okay, so this is Zman Vesta. So all Rav David Yosef told us right now that there's no difference when it comes to the Isur Niddah, whether she saw the blood because it came on her at the time when she anticipated the period to come. If the blood came at that moment, we're going to tell you she's tameh. She's impure. The husband is no longer allowed to have any contact with her until she waits. We'll say how many days she has to wait, and then she has to do a hefsek tahara, that is taking that white cloth and putting it inside herself, and afterwards she has to wait 7 clean days, and only then can she go to the mikvah. All this, Rabotai, we'll see little by little as we go along. Now, uben, or whether Let's say the woman's period is supposed to come in a week from now. I'm going to give you an example. But today she went to the wedding. Now she was dancing, she was jumping up and down, or I don't know, she ate something spicy, or things like that. Other circumstances caused her to see the blood. Another thing we'll see, Niddah, is that what happens if a woman sees animals mate? That can also cause the blood to come. But 1 second, Rabbi, her period is in a week from now. Does not matter. If she saw blood for any other reason, we're going to tell you she is impure, even though it's outside of her cycle, meaning it's outside of her time when she's anticipating to see the period. So it could be, Rabotai, again, let's say today is a Monday, she's anticipating to see the following Monday. Today she went to the wedding and she was dancing up and down, she saw blood. Is she impure? She's impure. Okay? Very important. That's what he's telling us over here. Or whether she saw it because of a certain situation, something else caused it to come. It didn't have to be that particular time when she's anticipating the period to come. It wasn't her Zman Vesta. Rabotai, in Hebrew it sounds so much better. Okay. Bottom line, Rabotai, the rule is in yellow. As long as the woman sees blood, she's considered to be impure, and the husband is no longer allowed to come into contact with her. You cannot touch her, you cannot joke with her. There's a lot of things, Rabotai, you're not allowed to do with your wife, because we are afraid that you might fall and actually have relations with her. Now, when we say this rule that if she sees blood and she's impure, very great or very grave misconception I've seen many times before. A guy thinks that if a woman sees blood, automatically she is impure. No. When do we say this rule that if she sees blood, she's impure and therefore the husband is not allowed to come into contact with her? That is specifically, Rabotai, listen to this rule, very important. Ladies, if you guys are watching, listen to this. ובלבד שיצא דם ze min hamakor. And provided that this blood comes from the source. I'll define what that means, the source, in a second. Rabotai, why is this important to know? Basically, I'll tell you now. The dam is the womb, where the baby is formed. The blood must come out from there. Why am I saying this? A lot of times the person makes a grave mistake. A woman goes to the bathroom. And she wants to make number one. I don't know. She wants to make number two. She wipes herself. Let's say she wiped herself with a cloth, because tissues, they're not able to accept tuma. Not a conversation for now. She wiped herself, let's say, with a cloth. Whatever it was, I don't know. She wanted to go take a shower. She wiped herself from the behind. She sees now on her white towel, there's blood. So the husband's like, oh, you're a Niddah. No. 1 second. She is not a Niddah yet. Just because she sees blood, or it might be even on her undergarment, or it might be even under the bedsheet, doesn't matter. If that blood, if I ask her, where did this blood come from? She's going to tell me, Rabbi, from when she was making number two, or whatever it might be, in her back, she had a cut or something like that, and that's why she has blood on the clothing, or on the bed sheet, or on the towel, whatever it might be. That does not make her tameh. It does not impurify her. She's not a Niddah. A Niddah is a woman specifically where the blood comes from the womb. If the blood does not come from this place, she is not impure. She is 100% pure, and you're allowed to be with her. So the case that I originally gave is a little bit more practical. A woman goes, she wants to sit down, correct? A lot of times when you wash yourself, I don't know if you have a bidet in the house, or when you wash yourself, and if you overly do it, you can make yourself bleed. So let's say this woman went ahead and she was washing herself, and then she wipes herself and she sees blood. She does not become a Niddah. Why? Because that blood might be from the cut from the rectum, but it's not from the wound where the blood has to come from. Let's do this. Rabotai, I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't want to have any backlashes from rabbis. I did it with my rabbi, I'm going to do it with you guys. Those that don't want to look at it, don't have to look at it, Rabotai. I don't want to get any backlash because of this. Okay, Rabotai, what we see over here in front of us, if you see right over here where I am showing right over here, where it says the vagina, so basically, Rabotai, I don't want to make the picture bigger than it is. That the vagina again is where the guy would have to sleep with his wife. That everybody, Rabotai, that's common sense. Nothing. Again, we're learning Torah over here, Rabotai. No bad thoughts, chas v'shalom. But then we have also what's called the cervix. The cervix is like basically an opening and a closing. We're going to see this right now. Before we get into the uterus, which is the womb, right away, Rabotai, this is where the baby forms. Now, let me see something. You guys see this, yeah? You see where my cursor is going back and forth right here. Right over here, Rabotai. This whole thing is the womb. Now, this is where the baby is formed. What Rav David Yosef, again, all this is Shulchan Aruch, Rabotai. What Rav David Yosef Shlita is telling us, that if a woman does not see blood from the makor, which is this area, this whole area is called the makor, it's called the source, which is the womb. If she does not see blood from here, she is not tameh. If she sees blood from anything outside of this area, Rabotai, she is tahor. She is pure. She is not tameh. A guy has to know this. So we have the vagina area. Then we have the cervix. I'm going to define the cervix in a second. And also we have the uterus. And this is where we want the blood to come out. If the blood that a woman sees does not come from the uterus, she is not a Niddah. She's 100% kosher to the husband. Once the blood comes out from here, and we're going to see this halachot today, what happens if she feels, a woman, they have the sensation, they feel that a certain detached, like somebody punched them in the stomach. If she feels that, some women feel it, some women don't. But let's say a woman had that, her gush is called a sensation. It's like, if you guys ever on an empty stomach, you drink water, you feel something coming down. That's one of the ways a woman can also feel that her blood is flowing down. But Rabotai, what happens a lot of times that she might have blood starting to come out, but the problem is it might not exit the cervix, which is basically the opening between the uterus and the vagina. It might be stuck over here, it might be between the walls. That's what we want the woman to check. We'll see all these halachot, Rabotai. All I'm just trying to tell you, we'll see the halakha today, that if she feels an uprooting happening from her uterus, even though it didn't come out yet, she didn't see no blood on her undergarment or on the sheet, nothing, she didn't see no blood, but she felt something like something was uprooted from within her, then she's stomach, even though the blood did not come out, because we still say that maybe the blood got stuck in between the walls of the uterus or the walls of the vagina and so on and so forth. It's only a matter of time that it's going to come out, and that's what we require her to go ahead and take her middle finger and check inside over there. So let's go back over here, Rabotai. So that's what Rav David Yosef is telling us over here. Ubilvad, and provided sheyatza dam ze min hamakor, and provided that this blood comes out from the source, dahainu min harechem shebo notzar havlad, which means to say, from the womb where the child is formed, which is the uterus. If the blood does not come from the uterus, the woman is not tameh. She's 100% permitted to her husband. Umikol makom, and nevertheless, ein tzarich sheyetzeh adam michutz ligufa. The blood does not necessarily need to leave her body. Ela rather, even if she felt, she had a sensation that the blood was detached from the source, from the uterus, she's tameh with the impurity of Niddah from the Torah. Meaning to say that the husband is not allowed to come into any form of contact, and she's 100% a Niddah. So Rabotai, before we do the English, let's just see this one more time. Rav David Yosef tells us, when it comes to the Isur Niddah, when it comes to the prohibition of a woman becoming forbidden to her husband, when is that? He says, whether she saw the blood because it came at the proper time, which is on the vesta itself, or whether she saw because for some other reason, for some other cause, which is not in its proper time, we're going to tell you as long as she saw this blood, harehi teme'ah, she's considered to be impure. Now, in order for us to determine that this blood is going to make her impure, we're going to tell you that this blood must come from the uterus, where the child is formed. If it comes from anywhere else other than the uterus, we're going to tell you that the woman is tahor. She's 100% kosher to her husband. Nevertheless, when we speak about the blood coming out from the uterus, it doesn't necessarily have to leave her body. It could be stuck in the uterus, it could be stuck in the cervix or in the walls of the vagina. Nevertheless, we're going to tell you she's 100% tameh from the Torah. Again, Rabotai, once she feels that sensation that as like something, she felt like something ripping from her, then we're going to tell you, Rabotai, she's 100% tameh from the Torah. Now, before we do the review, let's just see the cervix, okay? We're going to speak right over here. Let's just define the word the cervix. Right, we saw it over here. This area right here, Rabotai, this area where you can see my cursor, the cervix. The cervix is the lower narrow part of the uterus, which is the womb. It acts like a doorway or neck between the uterus, which is inside. This, Rabotai, is the uterus. And the vagina, which is outside, Rabotai, or the vagina where the husband and the wife have intercourse. It opens a little to let menstrual blood flow out. Now, Rabotai, listen to this very carefully. It's basically like a door. You know, you have like a door, it opens and closes. This is why if a woman has that sensation that she feels that uprooting inside her stomach, inside the womb, like she feels like something happened, but she doesn't see no blood, doesn't matter. Because this doorway is holding her back. It's holding the blood from coming out. That's what he says. It opens a little to let menstrual blood flow out. It opens wide during childbirth so the baby can come through. It also makes mucus that helps or blocks sperm from entering, depending on the time of the cycle. Rabotai, look how Kadosh Baruch Hu created a woman, Rabotai, to protect her when she has to become pregnant, not become pregnant, when the blood is going to come out. It's, Rabotai, it's unbelievable the way Kadosh Baruch Hu created people in general, the world in general. It's so beautiful. You could see Hashem's greatness. Okay. Rabotai, let's do a small review. A woman becomes forbidden because of being a Niddah as soon as she sees blood. It does not matter if she saw it because her regular time came, which is the Zman Vesed, or because of some special reason like stress, medicine, or lifting something heavy. Either way, if she sees blood, she's tameh, meaning impure, as a Niddah, and the husband is not allowed to come into contact with her. But when are we going to tell you that she's a Niddah? When she sees this blood? But this only counts if the blood came from the womb, the place inside where her baby is made. Also, the blood does not have to come out of her body in order for her to be tameh. Once she has that sensation, watch this, even if she just feels inside that the blood got detached and started moving out from the womb, she's already considered a Niddah by Torah law. Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch Adonai L'Olam. Amen.